गुड मॉर्निंग। फैन हेल्थ लाइव पे फिर से आज आपका स्वागत है। कोरोना की स्थिति अभी अपने चरम पे है। हम लोग अपनी तरफ से छोटी छोटी चीज़ें कर रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट अपनी तरफ से छोटी छोटी चीज़ें कर रहे हैं। डॉक्टर्स और मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी पूरे प्रेशर के अंडर है कि हम सब लोग उनका सपोर्ट कर पाएँ किसी तरह से। इसके लिए हमें क्या चाहिए? हमें चाहिए कि थोड़ी सी नॉलेज, थोड़ी सी इंफॉर्मेशन हम रखें और अपनी सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी पूरी करें। जहां हम हद हो सके इनकी मदद करें। आज बहुत सारे विषयों पे कोविड से रिलेटेड और छोटे छोटे मिथ्स और छोटे छोटे अनआंसर्ड क्वेश्चंस के लिए हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं डॉक्टर HK चोपड़ा। गुड मॉर्निंग डॉक्टर चोपड़ा।
Good morning.
एंड वेलकम टू द शो।
Thank you.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आप सब लोग जानते हैं कि सीनियर कंसल्टेंट कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट हैं मेदांता मूलचंद हार्ट इंस्टीट्यूट के और चेयरमैन हैं वर्ल्ड वेलनेस फाउंडेशन WHA के, कंट्री हेड हैं AHA के और फॉर्मर नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट रहे हैं CSI एंड IAE के। इन्होंने 10 से ज़्यादा किताबों पे चीफ एडिटर का रोल किया है जो कार्डियोलॉजी पे लिखी गई हैं। डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आपके इतने वास्ट एक्सपीरियंस से आज हम पहले तो आपसे ये जानना चाहते हैं कि इतनी पैनिक है लोगों में आज की तारीख में, इतना ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस हैं, कंफ्यूजन है और खूब chaos है, along with a lot of negative energy that's flowing around with people because कोई खो रहा है अपने loved ones को, कोई किसी के पास हॉस्पिटल बेड्स नहीं है, किसी के पास ऑक्सीजन की कमी है, मेडिसिन की कमी है। तो थोड़ा सा पहले इसके बारे में कुछ अपने अपने राय प्रकट करिए।
Thank you very much, Vishali. I think it's a very, very important question that COVID pandemic should remain as COVID pandemic. We should not try to make it a panic pandemic or an anxiety pandemic or a chaotic pandemic. Before we really interact on various questions by you, I really want to give a very important message of little achieving calmness in this crisis. And we'll start our interaction. After that, I need your permission to say or recite few words from Shanti Mantra. Vishali, can I do so?
Absolutely, sir. Please go ahead. We would love to hear from you.
So this is a Shanti Mantra to start so that we have some kind of calmness and we achieve some kind of discipline and face this crisis in a very meticulous manner and cope with it to reduce the morbidity and mortality. And the Shanti Mantra is only for 1.5 minutes. I request all my audience to close the eyes in the name of God and just listen to the Shanti Mantra. The expressions are like this. वन में मनसी प्रतिष्ठित मनमय वाची प्रतिष्ठित आव्य मयेदी वेदस्य अनिष्ट शतं मे प्रहस्य आनेन धीतेन होरत्रान् समदधामि श्रुतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मावतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तुराहाम् ओम शांति शांति शांति। Vasudev Kutumbakam. The whole universe is one, and the disease is also a universal disease. So we have to learn how to be calm, cool, and face this COVID crisis in a very disciplined manner so that we don't commit mistakes anywhere. And as Vishali just mentioned, we don't lose our near ones and dear ones. Extend supporting hand and helping hand to everyone and help yourself. Doctors are here to support you and help you, but we have to work as a whole. Doctors alone are inadequate. We all have to work together. Vishal.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको धन्यवाद देती हूँ। आपने इतनी खूबसूरत शब्दों से शुरुआत की है हमारे कॉन्वर्सेशन की। आई थिंक विद इन दैट 1 मिनट एक काफ़ी पीस ऑफ माइंड आ गया है टू बिगिन द डिस्कशन। सो फॉर मी ऑल्सो इट वॉज वेरी वेरी हेल्पफुल। थैंक यू सो मच। लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड। डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, सबसे पहला मेरा सवाल ये है जो कि ये सेकेंड वेव का नाम हम सुने जा रहे हैं। सेकेंड वेव का क्या मतलब है, क्या तात्पर्य है? what does it mean? And we are also hearing people talking कि third wave आने वाली है. What does second wave really mean?
Thank you, Vishali. I think you all know about the COVID, that it originated from Wuhan in 2019. The first wave started from there. And you know everything, how much was the morbidity and how much was the mortality. And then came the second wave. The second wave is by the mutation of the virus. And the mutation virus is B1617. And the prediction is the third wave is going to be in the end of the month or first week of June. Now, what is the difference between the first, second, and third? The first wave, we were not doing anything. We were ignorant, we were innocent. So we just thought of only universal precautions of social distancing, putting on a mask, don't sneeze in public place, don't cough in public place, keep a distance of 3 feet, avoid overcrowding. All those things we are learning at that time. And over a period of time, we developed some kind of technique to diagnose it by RT-PCR or by antigen. But now, if you see here, in the second wave, we have learned a lot. And there is a lot of difference in the first wave in the mode of presentation and in the second wave mode of presentation. The mutation of the virus is highly infectious. And somehow we find that the mortality inflicted by COVID virus, which is mutated, is quite high. So we have to be prepared very meticulously to face the morbidity and mortality which is caused by the virus. So I personally feel that time has come. We must use our experience of the first episode or first wave so that we should reduce the morbidity of the second wave and the third wave.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आपने मेंशन किया कि इसका ट्रांसमिशन का तरीका और इन्फेक्शियसनेस काफ़ी सिवियर है। हाल ही में 3-4 हफ्ते पहले लैंसेट की रिपोर्ट आई थी कि एयरबॉर्न डिजीज़ है ये, और इसके पार्टिकल्स काफ़ी लाइट हैं, काफ़ी हद तक ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं। तो अब हमारी समझ में क्या है, किस तरीके से ट्रांसमिशन होती है और आम जनता को क्या प्रिकॉशंस लेने चाहिए?
I think it's very important, Vishali, we have to understand that the sign and symptoms and the mode of transmission of the first wave was different. As we just discussed, the mode of transmission was usually by aerosols, by coughing and sneezing. So we have been told to have all the precautions so that we don't fall victim to a cough-produced virus in anyone by social distancing and masking. And the symptomatology was also very different. They had only fever, cough, they had loss of smell, loss of taste, body aches, headache. This was the common mode of presentation of the first virus. But the mutation virus is very different. It produces sore throat first, and then fever, then headache and body ache. And a lot of patients with this mutation we are seeing having persistent diarrhea. I remember I've seen 2-3 patients who had rash in the body, conjunctivitis. because of the vasculitis produced by this virus. So the mode of presentation is different, as you rightly mentioned, that there is a lot of data that this virus is highly infectious and also airborne. So we have to be more careful, especially in elderly people and those who are compromised immunologically. We should be very, very careful, and I think time to act is now. Stay at home, don't step out of the house until unless it's really essential, is a very important message to prevent the mode of spread, because it spreads like a fire when we stay in a crowded place, like processions or parties or social get-togethers, or anywhere like Kumbh Melas or rallies. We should not have any big conferences. Everything should be digitally performed. Perform from home. Use digital media. Use television. Use Zoom TV, Zoom, or use various WhatsApps or video consultations, telemedicines. So the time has come. We have to reduce the modes of spread, and we have to have a different lifestyle, what we call as COVID lifestyle. That may really help us to reduce the rising menace of COVID in our country as well as globally.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर चोपड़ा. एक सवाल मेरे को थोड़ा सा डिटेल में ट्रांसमिशन के बारे में और जानना है. हम लोग कह रहे हैं कि सबसे पहला प्रोटोकॉल तो वही होना चाहिए कि अपने आप को संभाल के रखें, ट्राई एंड बी इंडोर्स एज फार एज पॉसिबल, मास्क पहने, बेसिक प्रोटोकॉल्स जो हैं वो तो चेंज नहीं होते. जबकि इन्फेक्शन की बात हो रही है और ट्रांसमिशन इतना ज़्यादा फैल रहा है, is it advisable to go out even in your own balconies wearing a mask? There are new conversations happening that sewage pipe से भी ये transmit होने की chances है. तो ये सारे में थोड़ा सा हमें clarify करिए, and should we continue taking these precautions?
I think it's a very important question, Vishali, which you asked. One should be very, very careful with this mutation of the virus. As I mentioned, it is highly infectious. Don't go to social gardens. I'm very fond of going to Lodi Garden. I used to go every day, and I used to go in the hours like morning hours when there's no rush. One should avoid, especially in the second wave, because the virus is in the air. You asked a very pertinent question. Should we go to balcony? Should we go to the terrace? I think we should be very, very careful. If you are compromised immunologically, and if you have some ailment or comorbidities, or if you are a very senior citizen, you have to be very, very careful. So far as children is concerned, their immunity is good. They can easily go to terrace or balconies, but for elderly people or middle-aged people with comorbidities, we should be very, very careful. I personally believe that stay at home and don't get out of your house at least for 1 month to reduce the morbidity inflicted by this virulent virus. It has got a very high virulence and very highly infectious. So when we know these two components of this virus, why should we commit a mistake? Why should we fall victim to this COVID virus? I think the message is very clear. Stay at home as much as possible.
एक सवाल इस पे अब आता है कि अगर आपने जैसे बोला डॉक्टर चोपड़ा की सिम्टम्स अगर शुरू हो जाते हैं दिखना, उसके बाद में हम लोग टिपिकली डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट कराते हैं. RT-PCR है जो एक कॉमन टेस्ट है. तो आर देयर वेरियस काइंड्स ऑफ टेस्ट दैट आर प्रिस्क्राइब्ड, और इज RT-PCR द ओनली वन, और उसमें हम क्या देखते हैं? व्हाट इज इट दैट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर? हाउ डू यू डिटरमिन द सिवियरिटी ऑफ द इन्फेक्शन?
I think it's very important, Vishal. Getting a COVID virus and diagnosis of a COVID virus is not enough. Why do we diagnose? Why should we diagnose? Our objective is to know, is it a mild COVID, moderate COVID, or a severe COVID? Here people commit a lot of mistakes. Patients also, some of our doctor colleagues also. They keep on giving medicines for 4 days or 5 days. It is meaningless. We have to create a protocol. That's why I say perfect protocolization for COVID management is the need of the hour. If we don't protocolize, I'm sure our morbidity and mortality of COVID infected is going to be very, very high. We divide these patients into 3 categories, as I mentioned to you, based on the clinical judgment, based on the inflammatory markers, and also based on HRCT chest. So what are the clinical markers? For example, if a person has got an infection, a fever, high-grade fever, and his oxygen saturation is beyond 94, it's normal. It's very mild. We're not to worry about it. But if it is 90 to 94, we can say there is a mild affection. It's also a mild one. But any patient whose oxygen saturation falls below 90 or 89 at rest or even on exertion, like going to the restroom or while coughing or while eating food or while talking, if the saturation comes down, then this patient goes into the moderate category from 80 to 89. If any point of time the oxygen saturation falls to less than 80 or 70, he comes in a severe category. So far as the clinical judgment is concerned, some of faults you should know. People should know how to take oximetry. When we put a check the oximeter for doing the SpO2 estimation, we must make sure that our finger is clean. If there is a water or some food material or some dirt, you may get a false reading. So you have to be very careful. Make sure that you take SpO2 at a rest and not after exertion. You walk for some time and you exercise, then saturation is bound to low. So you have to be very, very careful while making the SpO2. And the SpO2 will also give you the information about the heart rate and tachycardia. Fever alone is not an important marker of a very high grade or a severe type of COVID. So first 7 days is very, very important, showing the clinical spectrum of the patients. The last 7 days are very crucial. It is a 14-day disease. First 7 days, fever and all the manifestations which I mentioned to you. In the last 14 days, where there is a cytokine storm. And it is this cytokine storm which is responsible for a very high morbidity and mortality. Please make sure that these patients are treated meticulously by medication as well as by lifestyle optimization. See, for example, if a patient has got a mild or a mild type of COVID, we should be just given simple things like we give doxycycline or give azithral 500 milligram daily or twice a day, doxy daily or twice a day, and then we give it these patients paracetamol or crocin, or we give other medicines like Meftal, any medicines to reduce the fever. If the fever is very high, you can even give 4 hourly. You cannot have the protocol of only 3 times a day or 4 times a day. Our objective is to control the temperature. Dolo, 60 to 30 milligram is very commonly used and very effective. We find Dolo is very effective and Meftal is very effective at times. Those who are not responding to paracetamol or crocin. Cough syrup is very important. A lot of people have cough, a very severe cough. So they can use cherry cough or Annex. They're very effective. One can use those steam inhalation, hot saline gargles, and even sometimes they can use what is known as a honey-tusk hot sip. It's like a kada. It's a decoction which contains all kind of mullet tea and other things which are also decongestants. They are very, very good. Can be used by any physician at home. So this is a home care, home isolation. First 7 days is home isolation. Now, Vishali, you asked me RT-PCR. RT-PCR is a sensitive test. So when a patient is subjected to RT-PCR and it's positive, means it's COVID. There is a new test has come now, which is also very sensitive, highly sensitive, much more than RT-PCR. I don't know how much it is available or not. And that test also tells us almost 95 to 98% sensitivity. The third test is antigen test, COVID antigen test. If it is positive, means it's 100% COVID. But if it is negative, that does not rule out COVID. That means the sensitivity and specificity is very different in the antigen test. It is an instantaneous test. So I think diagnosis is important. Now, after diagnosis, we don't leave the patient here. As I mentioned to you in my initial introduction, that this virus is pro-inflammatory, pro-thrombotic, and pro-immunogenic. When it's pro-inflammatory means there are some inflammatory markers. And these markers are like CRP, a C-reactive protein. If C-reactive protein normally should be less than 6, but if it's 20 to 40, it's mild, 40 to 60 is moderate, more than 60 it's severe. So you have to see in which category you fall. And please consult your doctor who knows about the subject well. And number 2, we take interleukin 6, which is a very important inflammatory marker. The normal level is less than 7. If the rise is more than 3-fold, it's mild. If the rise is more than 6-fold, it's moderate. And if the mild is more than 8-fold, it's a severe. Similarly, ferritin levels, and we also do other LDH. They also give you some information about the inflammation. So these are all the inflammatory markers. Then we have a clotting marker, which is a D-dimer. D-dimer is a very, very powerful and sensitive marker, usually less than 0.5. If the rise is more than 3-fold or 5-fold, we say mild. If the rise is more than 10-fold, it's a moderate. If the rise is more than 15-fold, it's a severe type of COVID. So based on the clotting or coagulation markers, inflammatory markers, and clinical markers, we label as mild, moderate, and severe. The third, which is very important, is CT scan. HR CT scan, high resolution CT scan. There was some controversy a few days ago, X-ray versus CT scan. I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, today, HR CT chest is a very, very sensitive and specific for diagnosis of COVID-infected pneumonitis. Number of times we may miss by X-ray. And the radiation exposure is not much. It's a myth that the radiation exposure is 400 times. No, it's not true. It is equal to 4 or 5 X-rays. Even if we do 2 or 3 times in the whole protocol of the treatment, it's safe, very safe. So according to me, the best imaging technique is HRCT chest. By HRCT chest, we divide the lung segments into both sides into 25. And if the involvement is less than 9, we call it a mild COVID. If it is 9 to 14, we call it a moderate COVID. And if it is more than 14, it's a serious COVID. But if it's 24 by 25 or 25 by 25, then it's a critical COVID. So how much is the information? But people are not subjected to CT scan. And then they come to us in the post-COVID period as sudden death. Nobody knows them, what has happened. As I mentioned to you, that it is this virus which is peculiar. It causes heart attack, lung attack, brain attack, leg attack, and abdominal attack. There's a very nice expression by one of the Italian studies. It says that the COVID virus is one which hijacks the body right from head to the toe. Please try to understand the importance of investigations. They are very important. Our aim is to reduce the inflammation of all the blood vessels, reduce the inflammation of the heart, what we call the myocardium, to prevent the myocardial injury, to prevent the clotting in the heart, what we call as a heart attack, to reduce the inflammation of the lungs, which is produced by cytokine storm, and to reduce the clotting in the lungs, which is a fatal complication, what we call as a pulmonary embolism. And similarly, to reduce the clotting in the leg veins, which is known as a deep vein thrombosis, or It may also help to reduce the clotting in the brain. This morning I had a call from Chennai, and the call was the patient had COVID 4 days ago and was taking some treatment at home, and then the patient had a stroke. Why stroke? Because no anticoagulants were given. It's very pathetic, very painful in the patient diabetic and hypertensive and elderly patients. So we have to understand when to give anti-clotting drugs, when to give anti-inflammatory drugs. I'm sure Vishali very shortly will discuss about the treatment part, but we have to make sure that the inflammation should be taken care of, clotting should be taken care of, and the injury which is produced by the virus should be taken care of right from head to the toe. This is what I wanted to say about the diagnosis as well as our approach to the patient. Please, a very important message for everyone. First 7 days, the natural course of disease is subtle, is simple, but don't take it easy after 7 days. Subject all our patients to HRCT chest after 7 days to assess the CT score, and based on the severity, take a decision which patient to be hospitalized and which patient can be managed at home. Here I give you an important message. Anybody who is HRCT chest score in less than 9 can be easily managed at home. But if anybody's score is more than 10, please hospitalize. If anybody's saturation is less than 85 or 80, please hospitalize. If anybody has a significant rise of CRP levels and D dimers, please hospitalize. So timely hospitalization and timely home isolation is a need of the hour. You should not worry in the home isolation. Who will give me food? Very simple. You can keep a stool outside your room. Somebody can serve food. You can pick up your food and you can leave it there. How will you take bath? Take a light sponge bath. Don't be very aggressive. Don't exert much. But please be mobile. Keep on walking. Take immunoboosters. Have a good diet, good rest. But don't get anxiety. That's a very important message in home isolation as well as in the hospital admissions. Vishal.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आपने इतने अच्छे से डिटेल में सारा कुछ समझाया है. काफ़ी चीज़ें अब मुझे भी समझ आ रही है. जैसे आप काफ़ी लोगों का देखा गया है पहले 7 दिन के बाद कॉम्प्लिकेशन शुरू हो जाते हैं. तो आपने क्लियरली हमें बताया है कि 7 दिन के बाद है जब साइटोकाइन स्टॉर्म आने का चांसेस होते हैं, उसी से कॉम्प्लिकेशंस बढ़ते हैं, एंड दैट इज व्हेन द डॉक्टर हैज टू टेक द डिसीजन बेस्ड ऑन देयर इंटायर डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट कि उनको हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन करें कि ना करें. अब डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, मुद्दे की बात ये आती है कि अगर हमारा पेशेंट हॉस्पिटल में पहुंच गया तो हॉस्पिटल में क्या किया जाता है. आपने काफ़ी चीज़ों की बात की कि उनके हर एक चीज़ों के पैरामीटर्स एंड लेवल्स बढ़ जाते हैं. क्लॉटिंग का डर है, ब्लड शुगर भी बढ़ जाती है कई पेशेंट्स की. तो व्हाट इज द प्रोटोकॉल दैट द हॉस्पिटल फॉलोज? व्हाट आर द काइंड ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट्स एंड मोडालिटीज दैट आर फॉलोड?
Thank you, Vishali. I think a lot of time it happens that the patient asks us, "Sir, मैं तो जिंक ले रहा था, मैं तो विटामिन सी ले रहा था, मैं तो विटामिन डी ले रहा था, मैं तो इम्यूनो बूस्टर ले रहा था, एजिथ्राल, डॉक्सीसाइक्लिन ले रहा था, सारे फॉलोइंग कर रहा था जो आप कहते हैं यूनिवर्सल प्रिकॉशंस, तो मुझे कॉम्प्लिकेशन क्यों हो गया? मैंने ऐसा क्या गलत काम किया? मैं तो ऑक्सीमेट्री भी डेली करता था, 2-2 घंटे में, 4-4 घंटे में, और जो दवाइयां बताई आपने बुखार कंट्रोल करने के लिए वो सब करता था, लेकिन मुझे क्यों हो गया?" सो मैसेज इज, इफ यू हैव लो इम्यूनिटी यू आर मोर प्रोन टू गेट इट. द मैसेज इज, if you are in panic attack or anxiety attack, then there is sudden gush of liberation of epinephrine, norepinephrine, and steroids in your body, which further reduce the immunity and push you towards the second stage of cytokine storm. अब जो cytokine storm है, इसकी definition पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये मेरा एक मैसेज है बड़ा भारी. The cytokine storm awareness is the need of the hour. इसके बारे में डरना नहीं चाहिए. हम कैसे फेस करना है उसका ज्ञान होना चाहिए कि अगर साइटोकाइन स्टॉर्म को फेस करेंगे, वो पहले से ही प्रिपेयर कर लेंगे अपने आप को, तो हमें साइटोकाइन स्टॉर्म से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. अगर हम पहले से ही एंटीकोगुलेंट ले लें और पहले से ही स्टेरॉइड थेरेपी शुरू कर दें तो हमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. नो वृषाली आज भी वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन कि अगर पेशेंट हॉस्पिटल में चले जाए तो आप क्या करेंगे. So I told you the first protocolization, you have understood a home isolation protocolization. Please treat the patient in protocol manner. Even I'm giving a message to all the doctors of India and the world. Don't give a small slip. Take these medicines and that's over. No, 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 no. Please make it a 3 segments. Segment 1, drugs. Segment 2, what investigations. And segment 3, what are the universal precautions. It should be a combined of a long prescription on behalf of doctors. Since we are doing a teleconsultation, tele-video consultation, please give them a details of information so that they don't fall victim to the problem. So despite that, if they have a problem like low oxygenation, saturation 70 हो गया या 80 हो गया, inflammatory marker बहुत बड़े हुए हैं और pneumonitis का स्कोर जो CT स्कैन से more than 10 है, उसको एडमिट करना है. अब एडमिट करके क्या करेंगे? Somebody asked me a very controversial question to the newspapers that steroids should not be given to everybody. It's not true. Steroid can be given to everybody, but you should know who is immunologically compromised, who is diabetic, who is hypertensive. The dose has to be titrated. Steroids जो होते हैं anti-inflammatory होते हैं, so we cannot use discriminate use of steroids. ऐसा नहीं जो मर्जी दे रहा है, किसी को ज्यादा डोज दे दिया, किसी को कम डोज दे दिया. नो नो, प्लीज, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वी यूज मिथाइल प्रेडनिसोलोन, we use dexamethasone, we use prednisolone, and the dose titration is purely based on individual to individual. Our aim is to suppress the cytokine storm जो कि वायरस से प्रोड्यूस होता है. स्टेरॉइड प्लेज ए वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. बट अगर पेशेंट ऑलरेडी स्टेरॉइड ले रहा है उसमें फर्क ज्यादा नहीं पड़ेगा क्योंकि ऑलरेडी वो स्टेरॉइड में है, ऑलरेडी इम्यूनोसप्रेस्ड है, वो उसको ज्यादा स्टेरॉइड देंगे तो यू मे मेक हिम मोर वल्नरेबल टू बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन. आपने नाम सुना होगा ब्लैक फंगस का, उसमें डरना नहीं है. ब्लैक फंगस भी हम ही लोग प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, पेशेंट प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. जब इनडिस्क्रिमिनेट करते हैं, जहां मर्जी है कॉर्टिसोन ले लिया, ज्यादा ले लिया, कम ले लिया, वो फंगस आ जाएगा, तो हमारे काउंट और ही बढ़ जाएंगे. अब जो काउंट बढ़े हैं वो हमारे कोविड वायरस से नहीं बढ़े. जो काउंट बढ़े हैं वो हमारे साथ में कोई बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन हो गया है या फंगस इन्फेक्शन है. तो दिस इज नंबर 1. we give steroids in the hospital and we give intravenous steroids. Methylprednisolone, dexamethasone or prednisolone. We give intranasal oxygen. Oxygen is very important. Oxygen is life and life is oxygen. अगर हम घर पे ऑक्सीजन यूज करते हैं तो हम सिलेंडर यूज करते हैं और वी यूज ऑक्सीजन कंसंट्रेटर जो कि रूम एयर से ऑक्सीजन बनाता है. बट द मैक्सिमम वी कैन गिव अप टू 5 लीटर्स पर मिनट और 10 लीटर्स पर मिनट. हमारा जो रिक्वायरमेंट होता है पेशेंट का मोर देन 20 लीटर्स, मोर देन 25 लीटर्स और ए हाई फ्लो ऑक्सीजन अप टू इवन 40 लीटर्स, तो वो सिर्फ हॉस्पिटल में दे सकते हैं. अभी यू माइट हैव हर्ड शॉर्टली देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ deficit in the oxygen supply. The demand ratio was mismatching. So I think our objective is very important. Oxygen is life. In our every cell of the body is oxygen. Ladies and gentlemen, I have already told you when I see oximetry means oxygen is in my capillaries. I see the oxygen of my capillaries in the oximetry. So oxygen is life. Without oxygen, we are nowhere. Money is not a life. Piles of notes is not a life. Gold is not life. Silver is not life. But oxygen is life. We all need oxygen. तो ऑक्सीजन तो हॉस्पिटल में ही मिलेगी. कितने सिलेंडर चेंज करेंगे, कितने कंसंट्रेटर यूज करेंगे. इमरजेंसी के लिए ठीक है, माइल्ड केसेस के लिए ठीक है, बट फॉर सीवियर केसेस दे हैड टू बी इन हॉस्पिटल. सो ऑक्सीजन प्रोवाइडिंग, स्टेरॉइड्स, then we give some antibiotic cover. We use various antibiotics required. The third important thing which is very very important and neglected, rejected, or people are scared of, that is anticoagulants. Most of the diseases and most of the complications are happening because of lack of anticoagulation. मैंने आपको अभी बताया कि ये प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक वायरस है. It produces in cytokine storm a clotting in the blood vessels, increase the permeability of the bronchial vessels, and may cause pulmonary embolism. It also produces myocardial injury in the heart, cause myocarditis. It produces heart attack by producing a clot there. तो हमको कुछ ना कुछ एंटी क्लॉटिंग मैकेनिज्म से इसको कंट्रोल करना है. And the best anti-clotting we use in the hospital is enoxaparin subcutaneous. उसका जो डोज है वो यूज करते हैं हम लोग 0.1 ml per kg of the body weight. तो करीब 0.4 to 0.6 ml subcutaneous per patient को देते हैं. You can give a single dose or double dose depending on the state of a patient, hypercoagulation or hypocoagulation, but it should be given to everyone. After 7 days or 10 days, we put this patient on oral anticoagulants. Oral anticoagulants are must. अब जो oral और anticoagulants दो टाइप के होते हैं, एक VKA, विटामिन K anticoagulants, antagonist और NOAC जो कि डायरेक्ट थ्रोम्बिन इनहिबिटर होते हैं या फैक्टर 10 इनहिबिटर होते हैं, जिसे हम कहते हैं NOAC मींस न्यूअर ओरल एंटीकोएगुलेंट्स. इसमें जो सबसे ज्यादा यूज होता है वो है रेवारक्सामार. लॉट ऑफ स्टडीज आर देयर वर्ल्ड वाइड ऑन रेवारक्सामार इन डीवीटी एंड पल्मोनरी एम्बोलिज्म, लाइक आइंस्टाइन स्टडी एंड रिकॉर्ड स्टडी. बहुत से स्टडीज है जिसके बारे में मैं जिक्र नहीं करूंगा आपको, बट दे आर वैलिडेटेड. इन कोविड इन्फेक्टेड कोएगुलोपैथी द ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस इज रेवारक्सामार. डोंट अंडरडोज एंड डोंट ओवरडोज. ऑप्टिमाइज द डोज. The dose is 10 to 15 milligram per day after lunch. उसके रीजन बहुत है which we discuss in scientific forums, but वो देना बहुत जरूरी है, कम से कम 8 हफ्ते. और अगर आपको कोई अंडरलाइंग मॉर्बिडिटी है, प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक स्टेज है, तो you can give up to 3 months also, but there doesn't require monitoring and there are no complications. It's very, very safe. So my message is very clear that everybody should be given NOAC. If you ask my personal opinion, NOAC should be given from day one. Because a patient is confined to a house, he is not as active as he is. So body में viscosity कम हो जाती है, stagnation of blood होता है, वो प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक स्टेज वैसे हो जाती है, और फिर वायरस और प्रोड्यूस करता है प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक स्टेज. What is the harm? It doesn't produce any harm. Until unless you have bleeding tendency, like bad gums, bad teeth, or some source of infection somewhere, or some ulcerative colitis, or Crohn's disease, there you may bleed. Or piles or fissures, वहाँ थोड़ी bleeding हो जाती है. और डोज कम कर दीजिए, 10 मिलीग्राम मत दीजिए, 5 मिलीग्राम दे दीजिए. Adjust the dose. अब एक बड़ा भारी क्वेश्चन है जो वृषाली में से आज सुबह पूछा कि आप सबको इक्विस्प्रिन देंगे. इक्विस्प्रिन हैज लिमिटेड डोज. इक्विस्प्रिन ऑलरेडी जो पेशेंट ले रहा है, जिसकी एंजियोप्लास्टी हो चुकी है, जिसको स्टेंट लगा हुआ है, वो लेता रहे. उसके साथ में ये एंटीकोगुलेंट देना है एज ए डुअल पाथ, जिससे कि पेशेंट के अंदर किसी भी तरह क्लॉटिंग ना बने. आई सी लॉट ऑफ पेशेंट्स लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन इन द पोस्ट कोविड टाइम सडन डेथ. आई वुड लाइक टू कोट एन एग्जांपल. आई हैड अ पेशेंट फ्रॉम नोएडा who recovered from COVID after 14 days, and he told me I want to come for checkup. He said, I will not come tomorrow, but I'll come after 2 days. And the next day, he went on a treadmill. While doing a treadmill, he collapsed. Young guy. And these are 32, 33, only because of lack of anticoagulation and no proper advice how much exercise you should do, we are losing people. So this is our own fault. So we must have an exercise protocol, rehabilitation protocol after discharge from the hospital. This is about what we call as anticoagulants, which is a very, very important. The next question is, in the hospital, there is a lot of panic about remdesivir. Remdesivir is not a panacea. Remdesivir, we give 200 milligram on the first day, 100 ml of normal saline, and followed by 100 milligram per day for next 4 days. Total 600 milligram देते हैं हम लोग. What is the purpose? To reduce the virus load. कोई भी डेटा वर्ल्ड में नहीं है that reduce the mortality. वायरस लोड को कम करता है, and your stay in the hospital is reduced from 14 days to 12 days or 10 days. That's only be achieved by remdesivir. तो कोई नुकसान नहीं है, थोड़ा बहुत तो फायदा है, लेकिन कोई mortality benefit नहीं है. So don't create panic. I don't know, there was some black marketing about the remdesivir. I think this is playing with the psyche of people. We should be very balanced, then we will not become panic and there will not be any chaos. The next thing which I wanted to tell you is about a very, very important role of so-called CP. CP means convalescent plasma therapy. Convalescent plasma therapy भी बड़ा controversy है, no doubt. In some studies they have shown the mortality benefit. और mortality benefit क्या होता है कि जो भी प्लाज्मा हम लेते हैं उस पेशेंट के अंदर एंटीबॉडीज हो, उसका हम प्लाज्मा लेते हैं. बट एवरी पेशेंट सफर फ्रॉम कोविड, उसमें बहुत ज्यादा एंटीबॉडी नहीं होती. कहीं में लेस देन 20, less than 30, they are not the candidates. So we have to take in those people who have a good amount of antibodies, more than 50 or so. So we have a bank and they decide which patients convalescent plasma should be given. The data is there but limited and we need to do more studies. Does it really help morbidity and mortality? इसमें भी बड़ा पैनिक है. पेशेंट एडमिट हुआ, सीरियस है, प्लाज्मा थेरेपी. No, don't get panic. Please go by your doctor's advice. If doctors think that he or she benefit with plasma therapy, you go for it. But it is not a panacea. Its safety and efficacy is still doubtful. So we need to work more on this. I gone through the whole literature till yesterday. The data is not so favorable. तो मैसेज बहुत स्पष्ट है आप सब लोगों के सामने कि बहुत लोगों को प्लाज्मा से बेनिफिट नहीं होता है और कुछ लोगों को होता भी है. हम लोगों को और स्टडी करना है to make it effectively safe and say जैसे कई लोगों की mortality benefit. इसके अलावा एक ट्रीटमेंट और आया है जिसका नाम है मोनोक्लोनल एंटीबॉडीज. इसका एक बड़ा पैनिक होता है. I get so many calls from Bombay, Pune, Nasik, Ujjain, Indore. Yes, sir, can I get tocilizumab anywhere? Can I get bevacizumab anywhere? Can I get itolizumab anywhere? See, these are all the drugs which are monoclonal antibodies and they try to prevent the injury produced by the virus, but they are used only in critical COVID. जो critically sick है उनमें use करते हैं. I use in a lot of patients. Like I use bevacizumab. We given 400 milligrams over 100 ml in 1 hour infusion, and I given two infusions in these patients. One patient recovered whose score was 25/25. Another patient recovered whom I gave itolizumab 100 milligrams. We give it over a period of 5 to 6 hours, and before that we give hydrocortisone and Avil. So this patient is also improved. उससे definitely कुछ लोगों को एक important injury कम होती है and there is a regression of this inflammatory markers. ये मेरा personal observation है. I'm doing a big protocol in the hospital and I find inflammatory markers by monoclonal antibodies are significantly reduced. So far as CT scan scoring is concerned, some of them are reduced, some of them are not reduced, but most of them are reduced. I still have to produce the data out of it. इसमें benefit है, but please leave it to the doctor. Don't create a panic. Next one, after this, despite all this, अगर oxygen saturation कम होता है, then they have to be given a non-invasive ventilation or a BiPAP support. और अगर इसके बावजूद भी कम होता है, then you leave it to the doctor. They can put on a ventilation. Ventilator is required. और अगर वो भी ना काम करे, तो one is to go when there is a massive pneumonitis, बिल्कुल ही white lung हो जाते हैं, then they can go for ECMO therapy. Again, ECMO therapy is domain of a doctor. You don't ask for it. And the last one, if it is more than 3 months and 4 months, still patient is lung dependent or respiratory dependent, and he has a respiratory failure, one can even go for lung transplant. मैंने कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ा, सब चीज बता दी आपको. इसके बारे में पूरी जानकारी आप लोगों को होना चाहिए और सब जानकारी हर एक मेंबर ऑफ पब्लिक को होना चाहिए to eliminate panic situation in the life. This is a very, very important thing, and I'm very grateful to Vishali for asking me all these questions on meticulous and proper protocolization for COVID management in need of the hour. Time to act is now. Locally, vocally, focally, and globally to reduce the rising menace of COVID from the universe. We have to eradicate COVID. And I think that's a very important message, which I'm going to give you shortly after having any more questions from Rishabh. Yes, madam.
So, Dr. Chopra, sir, thank you so much. आपने इतने अच्छे और डिटेल्ड वे में बताया कि हॉस्पिटल में एक्चुअली क्या-क्या प्रोटोकॉल्स फॉलो किए जाते हैं, कौन सी लाइन ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट ली जाती है, और इट इज एंटायरली डिपेंडेंट ऑन द डॉक्टर एंड द कंडीशन ऑफ द पेशेंट एंड हाउ इट इज प्रोग्रेसिंग और रिग्रेसिंग, व्हिचएवर द केस मे बी. इसमें 2-3 सवाल मेरे डॉक्टर चोपड़ा ये हैं कि काफ़ी टाइम पे हम लोगों को सुनते हैं कि ये जो मेडिकेशन आपने बोली है, कई स्टेरॉइड्स हैं, आपने रेमडेसिविर की बात करी है, ये जो इंजेक्शंस आपने बताए हैं, एंटीकोगुलेंट्स, a lot of these things, a lot of patients are trying to acquire for the home treatment itself because they want to be one step ahead. अब ब्लड थिनर्स की भी आपने, एंटीकोगुलेंट्स की भी बात करी. अब इनमें से कौन सी चीज़ें हैं जो एक्चुअली होम प्रोटोकॉल में यूज करी जाती हैं और कौन सी ऐसी हैं जो बिल्कुल भी घर पे नहीं यूज करनी चाहिए, and it should only be used when you are hospitalized in the care of
Thank you, Vishali. I think a very important question you asked. You really hit the nail. There is not a controversy. When people know remdesivir may panacea, सब लोगों ने ब्लैक मार्केटिंग कर दी और लोगों ने घर में इंजेक्शन लेकर खरीद दिए, as if it will save them. It's absolutely wrong. Remdesivir has never to be used at home. If it is used at home, I don't think we can assess the efficacy or safety of remdesivir at all. It has to be given in the hospital protocol by the doctors who are frontliners under the supervision of the senior consultants. Remdesivir has not to be used in the house. Very, very clear-cut caution. Number 2, injectable steroids. Please don't do at house. You don't know what you're doing, how much you're abusing a patient. I know a patient who they gave injectable steroids by putting a drip in the house and blood sugar was 900. 900. Are you curing COVID or you're killing a patient with the diabetic ketoacidosis? So I think very class you have to be very, very careful and let it be a domain of hospitalization. Third, about anticoagulants. I personally believe if one can give anticoagulant like rivaroxaban at home, very safe. I told you the dosage, 10 milligram to 15 milligram, if there is no associated source of bleeding. If there is a piles or fissure or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease or bad gums or any area where you bleed more, malignancy, you have to be a little careful and take the opinion of a doctor. Otherwise, in the hospital, it can be used both places. Fourth is Clexane or enoxaparin. Enoxaparin can be easily used at home, but you have to learn the technique of giving it. There is a special technique by which we give an enoxaparin at home. तो वो अगर हम घर में रख लें, वो दे सकते हैं. No question of any tocilizumab or bevacizumab or atezolizumab to be kept at home. This is purely a research molecule. Experimental molecules in the research protocols of the hospital, they have to be used by the hospitals only. High flow oxygen has to be used by hospital only. Concentrator you can keep at home. Oxygen cylinder you can keep at home. Again, under supervision of a doctor. And my appeal to everybody at this platform that we all should use concentrator because everything we can't procure from the government. And I will appeal to every member of public, whether it's a society or a welfare association or a Rotary Club or a Innerville Club or a PhD Chamber of Commerce or CII or SHM or FICCI or Gurdwaras or any spiritual organization like temples or any other non-governmental organization. Please take up this as a project. Even corporates to collect concentrators and provide oxygen at home. so that we reduce the burden in the hospital. Then we will not have a problem and no beds available. Some people are admitted because of fear. We don't need it. There are definite criteria, as I mentioned to you. If those people who meet with the criteria, we have in our hospital, Moolchand Hospital, we have created a special protocol, a proforma, which has to be filled by the patient before coming to the hospital. When we find a patient needs admission, we hospitalize. So this is very important, and I think we cannot keep too much of BiPAPs at home. And the BiPAP is to be used only by recommendation of a doctor. Similarly, latest gadgets of respiratory support has to be used only by the hospital. Oximetry, everybody should have. Thermometer, we all should have. Mask, we all should have. And we should use all sanitizers. So these are very important. Don't create a store of doxycycline at home. There will be shortage in the market. Don't create a store of azithral at home or paracetamol. Take a limitation is freely available. So we should not be in fear to buying more medicines and extra medicines and to make a deficit in the market, so others are deprived of the benefit of this medication. I think our aim should be support everyone, help everyone. Brotherhood is required now. Please support, please help. This is my very important message on this occasion of proper protocolization for COVID management.
वेरी वेरी वेल सेड डॉक्टर चोपड़ा सर, आपने इतने अच्छे से समझाया है. ऊपर से एक चीज मैं ऐड करूंगी, आपने जो बोला है लिस्ट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट घर पे होनी चाहिए लोगों को, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की. आई थिंक एक बार सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लोग सीख लें, ऑटोमेटिकली दे विल अंडरस्टैंड कि होर्डिंग नहीं करनी चाहिए, घर पे बैठो, यू विल नॉट बी स्प्रेडिंग द वायरस and not adding to more of the chaos that is there. So I think these were beautiful words that you said. I have 2 or 3 more questions. थोड़ा डिटेल में जाना चाहती हूँ मैं. एक है कि आपने होम केयर और हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन बताया ओवरऑल इन जनरल. मैं अगर स्पेसिफिकली डायबिटीज एंड हार्ट पेशेंट्स की अगर बात करूँ, इनको अगर कोविड होता है, ऑफ कोर्स पूरा घर पैनिक मोड में चला जाता है, बिकॉज वी नो दैट ऑल ऑफ दीज पीपल हैव ऑलरेडी एन एग्जिस्टिंग कंडीशन which can accelerate, can make it more severe. What should be the way of thinking of the household members? What are the immediate things they can do so that कि पहले तो severity ना पहुंचे, अपने हाथ में है तो क्या करना चाहिए, और अगर हो जाए तो what are they expecting out of their doctor in the hospital?
Thank you, Vishali. I think it's a very good question. Every family members, every household, this is a problem in elderly people who undergone angioplasty or a bypass surgery or hypertension or diabetes, or they have underlying CKD or on dialysis. तो कोई पैनिक की बात नहीं इसका. अगर ये चीजें हैं, it should be treated under supervision of a specialist. Please go to a specialist. Specialist care is very important. General physician can also work with the specialist so that we give proper protocol, which medicines are required, which medicines are not required, but the criteria for admission are more when there are comorbidities. If a patient has got all the criteria of inflammatory markers and CT score and oxygen reduction, and there are comorbidities, they need more care. So they should go to the hospital. And I personally believe the COVID care should not be a domain of only one doctor. It has to be a task force, a working force. We should include physician, cardiologist, pulmonologist, neurologist, and intensivist. And if required, we can take nephrologist also. But most important are physicians, pulmonologist, and cardiologist and intensivist. These 4 people are must, so that they can manage the patient and there is no ambiguity. Sometimes pulmonologists think, no anticoagulants are required. And sometimes cardiologists think, no, not very steroids are required. So it has to be a team effort, a balanced approach. And then we discuss out in every patient and manage the patients. Anybody can manage. COVID management is not a big deal. According to me, all the specialists today should be COVID specialists. In the gynecologist should also be COVID specialist. Surgeons, orthopedic surgeons should also become a part of COVID specialization. That's how we can increase the force and manage our patients better way. every doctor has a skill to manage COVID patients. This is very important, and we should not have any fear. The next point which you asked, Vishali, is very important. What should we do post-COVID? Because the real deaths happen post-COVID. So uska exercise jo protocol hai, you have to be very careful. Don't go an inappropriate exercise. Go in a gradual manner. And I always give a message to everyone: meditate every day, do yoga every day, breathing exercises do every day. When you are at home for home isolation, or you are in the hospital, home below what we call it. जिसे हम कहते हैं यमा, नियमा, आसना, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहारा, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. That should be a part of life, irrespective of COVID or no COVID. COVID will not come to you. If you are a regular meditator and a regular practitioner of yoga and take immunoboosters, COVID will be scared of coming. COVID attacks those people more whose immunity is less or who have more comorbidities. So this is a very important message. And those who are post-COVID, please take the medicines like anticoagulants, like rivaroxaban, so that you don't fall victim to pulmonary embolism. I see a lot of sudden deaths in young people, especially in the second wave. Vishali, I'm very painful to say that I see a lot of young people dying because of lack of protocolization. So a time has come that the need of anticoagulants should be recognized and practiced without any fear. It's very safe, very effective. There is a huge data to support my statement, which I am mentioning here, to reduce the morbidity and mortality.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आपने बताया कि XYZ जो प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं हॉस्पिटल में करते हैं, which is the point where the hospital says that the patient is now recovered and घर जा सकते हैं. मैंने the reason I'm asking this question is कि recent past में काफ़ी केस सुने हैं जहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल में होने के बाद में patient is almost on the way to recovery and then suddenly develops a heart attack and dies overnight. And I have heard more than one case of this sort. So when is it that you can say that the patient is safe and out of danger and they are sent home?
Very good question. Very, very good question. Vrishali really want that there should be no morbidity and mortality during the hospitalization and after hospitalization. That's the message she wants to give. And I tell you, Vrishali, it's possible. Before the patient discharge, we should make sure that the inflammatory markers have come down. CRP, then interleukin, ferritin, and LDH. D-dimer level has come down significantly. And then assessed by CT scan. I feel the protocol should be like this. CT scan on 7th day or 8th day, CT scan on 14th day, and CT scan may be repeated after 6 weeks. So that we know that what was in the beginning, what is after treatment, and how much is the total resolution. Because I don't know how many of these patients may go into a fibrosis. The data is very limited. So if you really want to reduce the residual deficit of fibrosis in these patients, is very important. Vrishali asked a very important question. A lot of patients are discharged, and I heard that they die at home only because there was no proper assessment. If you assess the patient meticulously and then implement the treatment meticulously, अगर आपने समझाया नहीं पेशेंट को कि आपको रेवोरक्साबान लेना है, कुछ नहीं होगा, तो कुछ नहीं होगा. If you stop medication or underdose or miss the dose because patient is in a hypercoagulation state. So we have to continue this at least for 8 weeks after discharge, and if a patient's comorbidity, for 12 weeks. I personally feel our objective should be reduce the inflammatory markers and reduce the clotting markers and reduce the inflammation produced by the virus in the lungs. Then things will improve. And I think we should be very, very bold and dashing in our approach, that here we know everything about the COVID. As a common man, I know about cytokine storm. I know what happens in the first 7 days. What happens in the next 7 days? There should be no ambiguity. Every member of the public has a right to know what he or she is suffering from, and they can discuss with the doctors without fear and without panic. But meticulous treatment is the hallmark of reducing the morbidity and mortality after discharge from the hospital.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, एक लास्ट सवाल है. आई नो वी यू बीन डिस्कसिंग, काफी आपने डिटेल्स बता दी है. एक लास्ट सवाल जो हम बिना डिस्कस करे नहीं रह सकते, आपने मेंशन भी किया था, black fungus is in a lot of conversations nowadays. It's across social media and the news. And black fungus sunte hi ek aur complication ki baat sunte hi again people set off in a panic mode. Black fungus का exactly कब formulate होता है, और who should be scared of black fungus, so that it gives an ease to the people who are listening कि ये सबको नहीं होता, किस कंडीशन में होता है. एक थोड़ा सा अपनी तरफ से आप इंफॉर्मेशन दीजिए.
Yesterday only I had a call from Bombay. When a lady asked me, I think one of her relations admitted under my care in Mulchand Hospital. Sir, my sister is admitted under your care. She is mildly diabetic, and you are giving her steroids. What is the protocol so that she doesn't get black fungus? And I asked her, why are you asking about this? She said, Bombay में बड़ा black fungus हो रहा है, पूना में बहुत black fungus है, और गुजरात में बहुत black fungus. Black fungus is everywhere, not confined to one particular zone. If you give overdose of steroids or indiscriminate of steroids, then you will make a person immunosuppressant. जो मैंने सूक्ष्म बताया आपको, you may get a bacterial infection also, and you may get a fungus infection also. I personally believe that those who have comorbidity like diabetes, and if you have to give a long-term steroids, they should be covered with the antifungal. Black fungus is mucormycosis. It can happen anywhere on the face, on the mandible, in the eyes, and may cause a swelling. If we don't take care, it is black in color, so it's called black fungus. But we should not have a fear. We can eliminate it totally with the medication. We give fluconazole to these patients, and if we follow this protocol, black fungus will not come. But if you don't bother about it as a patient or as a doctor, then problem is going to happen. So black fungus can be eliminated by proper protocolization. Proper protocolization is the need for an effective cure and effective reduction of morbidity and mortality and prevention of secondary infection like bacterial and other fungal infections, especially in elderly patients with comorbidities. That's a very important message.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, इतना आपने रीअश्योर कर दिया है हमारे दर्शकों को ये बता के, क्योंकि एक बारी कोई भी नई चीज आ जाती है जुड़ के, इसके साथ में पैनिक लेवल्स एकदम स्काईरॉकेट हो जाते हैं लोगों के, जनता के. जाते जाते आप एक समरी क्या बोलना चाहेंगे लोगों को? what would be a good message to send to them now?
Vishali, my final message for every member of the public and my own colleagues: oxygen is life, and life is oxygen. Vaccination for all and herd immunity acquiring is the need of the hour if we want to get rid of the virus. And we can acquire herd immunity only by perfect mass immunization, and of course, when more people suffer from a mild COVID, not a major COVID. Perfect protocolization, we discussed over the last 45 minutes or 1 hour, is the need of the hour. This may help in reducing the morbidity and mortality infected by the COVID. No panic attack, no chaotic attack, and no anxiety attack with COVID pandemic. It will become a real pandemic. It will become vicious and disastrous. So you have to be very calm, very cool, and face it in a very subtle manner. Follow COVID universal precautions all the time in the years to come. Universal mask application is the need of the hour. We have to live with the mask. You design the mask of your choice. Have a different color, texture, whatever you want. but mask is a must to cover your nose and cover your mouth. The next important purpose is please start extending helping hand. In a lot of families, we are losing parents and their children become COVID orphans. Very painful. Helping hand to provide oxygen in the society, community, organization, cities, rural areas, urban areas, everywhere. Helping hand and support is the need of the hour. It should be vocally, as we are doing today. It should be locally, also we are doing today. It should be focally and globally. I'm sure Vaishali will make this dialogue globally so that people get the message. Timely home isolation, very important. I know of some people who keep on working and infect many. They become the real super spreader. We must make sure that timely home isolation and timely hospitalization. We have discussed at length how it can be done. No self-medication, please. Ask your doctor and take all the medication, not by chemist recommendation and not by nurse's recommendation or paramedical staff recommendation. It should be only by the doctor. The next important point which I discussed with Shadi, we must enhance cytokine storm awareness and not fear psychosis. The need has come now. The next point is change. We all should change, adapt and adopt COVID lifestyle. This point is very difficult. Adapting to this lifestyle and adopting this lifestyle. Japan is already doing it. Why can't we do it? We need to change our mindset. On the contrary, I'm very happy not going for attending any conferences. I was wasting my time. Sitting at home, I'm at the whole globe. So why should I waste my time? According to me, a lot of benefits of COVID. Please look at those benefits. So adapting and adopting of the COVID lifestyle is the name of the hour. I mentioned repeatedly, remain calm, meticulous, and vigilant. And please practice yoga and meditation on daily basis and consume immunoboosters. Please avoid indiscriminate use of steroids and use anticoagulants effectively without a fear. That's a very important message. Last two messages are very important. The 14th message, what I call is patience, policies, and precautions should be in everybody's mind. Clouds come and go. They never stay for a long time. They will disappear. In last, my expression is from Vedas. And the expression is like this. In every crisis, there is uncertainty. We don't know what is going to happen. In every uncertainty, there is detachment. In every detachment, there is a freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, in every freedom, we surrender to cosmos. And when we surrender to cosmos, the cosmos orchestrates his dance into your feet. Have a faith and confidence in God. You do your bit, he will do his bit, and things will settle down forever. But please be disciplined, please be meticulous, and be vigilant, and follow the protocol to get rid of COVID. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And giving me a chance to you, especially Vaishali, I'm grateful to you, as well as Asha, to have this important, useful interaction on the platform of Tata Sky Fem Health.
डॉक्टर चोपड़ा, आई कांट थैंक यू इनफ. इतनी सारी बातों पे आपने इतनी सरल तरीके से क्लैरिटी दी है हमारे दर्शकों को. सवाल अभी बहुत सारे बचे हैं, खत्म नहीं हुए, पर आज आपने काफी वक्त दे दिया है, तो मैं आपसे यही गुजारिश करूंगी कि प्रोबेबली नेक्स्ट वीक हम लोग एक पार्ट 2 इसका कर पाएं अगर, और लोगों के जो अनगिनत सवाल हैं उनको भी थोड़ा सा एड्रेस कर पाएं. दैट वुड बी रियली रियली नाइस. बाकी मैं लोगों को बोलूँगी कि अगर उनके पास कोई सवाल है जो हम वैसे डॉक्टर चोपड़ा से आंसर करवा पाएँ, तो आप ज़रूर हमारे वेबसाइट पे आइए, हमारे सपोर्ट ग्रुप पे कम्युनिटी है, वहाँ पे अपने सवाल छोड़िए और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि डॉक्टर चोपड़ा उनका जवाब टेक्स्ट के फॉर्म पे आपको दे सके।
Thank you, Vishali, for giving me this opportunity. I'm grateful.